Hi everybody, we're getting straight into this video because it's going to be a bit of an explanation before I play today's wonderful artist, the rap artist from Italy, Caparezza. And I'm featuring his wonderful, in-depth and insightful video and lyrical video that is called Come Pripyat. Now, Pripyat is a place in Chernobyl that was affected by nuclear radiation. And so that is the premise of the story and where it is filmed. But I want to get into what this artist has to say first of all about the video. To make the video, the director Fabrizio Conte and I used the help and experience of Ascosi Lasciti, yes I'm right, an association for urbex enthusiasts, urban exploration. Now the guys from Ascosi have planned a 3-day journey for us, during which I visited the abandoned and decadent places that you will see in the video. Obviously the song released last year in the video did not refer in any way to the ongoing conflicts. Now this is what Caparezza had said via YouTube. Now let's go to something else I found about the explanation, and I want to thank Genius Lyrics for this, who are a website in themselves that give me the lyrics for all my songs, and I get all my translations of lyrics through Genius, the website. So anyway, it continues. In this video, he refers to the abandoned city of Pripyat, evacuated in April 27, 1986 following the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, and never again inhabited. In the refrain, the artist mentions Pripyat to evoke a situation of incommunicability, you know, that you can't communicate, of static and toxicity. Caparezza intends to express the discomfort one feels when observing the current situation in Italy, which despite its apparent static nature, corrodes and undergoes mutations, just like the city of Pripyat. In the first verse, he describes the change of rap, the glorification of criminal culture by kids, and finally criticized the misuse of social media. In the second verse, he alludes to the political change that took place in southern Italy, where many voters had begun to vote for a party, the Lega, which until a few years earlier degenerated them with the name Lega Nord. In the outro, he attributes these changes to human nature. Now, Lega Nord, I have found out, is the complete name for a right-wing federalist, populist and conservative political party in Italy. Its current leader is Matteo Salvini, and in the run-up to the 2018 general election, the party was rebranded as Lega without changing its official name. And the party was nonetheless frequently referred to only as Lega even before the rebranding. Now, if I fast forward, through a mandate given by the Federal Council, the party has been managed by a commissioner, and thus the LN was eclipsed by Lega. Until that movement, active only in central and southern Italy, and since then throughout Italy. Following that, LN is practically inactive now, and its former national sections have become regional sections of the party. And the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because of how social media influenced many people to become right-winged in Italy, and almost want northern Italy separated from southern Italy to have its own governments. And the party argued, we want the people to be in charge of the north, but no reference to the south, and for all the northern territories to come together. And I'm just thinking that's very like Ireland here, north of Ireland and the south. And at the moment there is going to be, in years to come, a referendum in the north whether people want to remain as part of England or as part of Ireland. So splitting a country up to north and south, and I live in a country called Ireland that I've lived through this, and I have lived in the north, and now I live in the south, Dublin. It would never have worked. you could not separate Italy when the whole world looks at Italy as one. So that is why I've given you this introduction, because of the importance of the video. I do have, as always, the lyrics in front of me. We are going to enjoy this. He's a wonderful, wonderful, creative man, an extraordinarily amazing live performer, and one of the foremost and amazing people of our time when it comes to rap music and keeping it to its roots and trying to hold on to the authentic rap that was always about rap music. But in this video, as you'll see, he also talks about the culture and the influence, that it's all about bling bling now and money. And rap music is about catchy lyrics. It's not about sending strong social messages through the rap music anymore. And he's disillusioned and upset by this. So all of that is what this video is about. And that's the power of what you're about to see in the images, because I've seen some of the images. But this is the first time I'm going to hear him rap and sing to this particular song. We now know what the song is about, so let's listen to Caparezza, Come Priapata.
Questa città non è più mia, ha un cuore cyber. Vedo più mutazioni di un disegnatore Marvel. Temo il contagio nella mano, un contatore Geiger. Trattengo il fiato, tiratore sniper. Prendi il rap, cambia forma e non lo prendi mai. Potere all'alta moda quando prendi il mic. L'opposto di quando ne fui rapito a 13 anni e mi parlava da una fogna come Pennywise. Per questi ragazzi non ci sarà scampo. Giocano alla mafia, mamma vado in strada a sparo. A 30 anni da capaci vedi sarà strano, ma il modello è diventato Gianni Savastano. La mia vita privata è troppo preziosa. Vedo gente invidiata, non so per cosa, ma so che più si sputtana su qualche social, più pare che goda di un'enorme stima. Non parlo al mondo come prima, ma parlo a vuoto come Pripyat. Nell'indolenza collettiva che mi avvelena come Pripyat. Non parlo al mondo come prima, ma parlo a vuoto come Pripyat. La giostra è ferma come Pripyat. Falle una foto come Pripyat. Il tuo capitano ne sa poco più di un bar. Guida con l'iPhone in mano e ci sei tu sul tram. È arrivato il cambiamento, caro Yusuf Kat. I miei parenti sembrano membri del Ku Klux Klan. Il mio sud cambia pelle, mamba verde. Sono fermo sotto un peso, schiacciatempie. Io cariatide, il nemico sta sempre più a meridione. Tu sposta il cannone, minaccia a terra e in Antartide. Non mi lodare perché resto schivo. Anni che difendo chi voleva questo schifo. Resto a custodire il vuoto dentro questo scrigno. Vomito fuoco ma sono il draghetto Spiro. Come va? Va tutto fuori posto, come dentro il mio salotto dopo una partita a tennis. Mi godo il nuovo mondo che mi sveglierà dal sogno come Luther King a Memphis. Non parlo al mondo come prima, ma parlo a vuoto come Pripyat. Nell'indolenza collettiva che mi avvelena come Pripyat. Non parlo al mondo come prima, ma parlo a vuoto come Pripyat. La giostra è ferma come Pripyat. Falle una foto come Pripyat. Perché l'umana natura sta divorando ogni cosa. La carreggiata alle mura, persino i banchi di scuola. La giostra è ferma come Pripyat. Falle una foto come Pripyat.
Do you understand the sound of the machine at the end, the impact it has? And then he disappears. That's going to be the human race. That is the effects of just a leak from a nuclear plant, Chernobyl, that was heavily backed by England, and it powered a lot of cities with the power, and even they sold the nuclear power. But this is a result of just a leak, and it's still very dangerous to this day. It hasn't been totally solved. We're living generations later, a couple of decades later, we've had 2 or 3 generations. We have not had answers as to whether it's now safe to not go back to the places affected by the leakage, of course not, but just that the world is safe from future leakages. But they won't give answers to that. Russia never does. They're not answerable to anybody. That's how they feel when it comes to not just war situations, but when it comes to situations like this. But we'll keep war out of it, because I don't want to touch on. I have friends both in Russia and Ukraine, so I'm very neutral. And I always say politicians are to blame for these situations. And in this situation, the politicians were. And to think they honoured the president of Russia at the time, I forget what he was called. And yet, his government had caused this. But anyway, we have to go back to the song, very powerful song, Caparezza, and thank you, because you're giving a very important wake-up call, and I agree with you in many issues that you brought up and that I talked about before I began to play the song. So it continues in verse 2, your captain knows little more than a bar. Drive with an iPhone in hand and there you are on the tram. Change has come, dear Yusuf, and my relatives look like members of the Ku Klux Klan. My South sheds its skin green mamba. I'm still under a weight that crushes my temples. I'm a Katarid. The enemy is increasingly to the south. You move to the cannon and threaten the lands in the Antarctica. Don't praise me for being shy. Here's that I defend those who wanted this crap. I remain to guard the emptiness inside this casket. I vomit fire, but the Cypro dragon. How are you? Everything is out of place. Like inside my living room after a tennis match, ace. I enjoy the new world that will wake me from the dream. Like Martin Luther King in Memphis, I had a dream. In other words, he looks at his country, socially, politically. He looks at them and he's angered. And he expresses real discomfort observing the current social situation in Italy, which, despite its apparent static nature and crucial stopped, it's corroding and it undergoes mutations, just like the city of Prat. And, you know, you've got the change in rap and no audience to appeal to highlight this situation, because he's caught in a situation, Caparezza, of writing lyrics about those social situations to try and teach young people growing up with rap a message of we must change the politics, we must stop the mutations, we must. But instead, what he's looking at and facing is a group of people growing up, a generation in his country where he can't put his social messages through anymore, because the kind of rap music they follow is about the booty and the girl and it's so different from when he was 13 starting out that it's like, what's happened to everybody? They become mutated by social media. It's about the bling bling, not about the sing. So, you know, he talks about that. He talks about the party, Liga Nord, which I've explained. He talks about all these mutations. And then it goes on to the refrain where he stresses, I don't speak to the world before, but I speak like an empty Prat, in a collective indolence that poisons me like the city. We'll say Pripyat, but I speak empty like Pripyat. The carousal is firm like Pripyat. Take a picture of her like Pripyat, because that's how he feels Italy's going to become. The new generation are careless wonders. They wonder about nothing. They care about nothing. They feel nothing. They're empty. And what they support is only trends and social media, but nothing from the heart, nothing real, nothing what's affecting them in the papers, on TV, still on the radio. But these are the forms of media they don't listen to anymore. Nobody listens to the radio. Nobody sits listening to the news in the evenings, discussing things with their families. The father, the head of the family, discussing things. They don't absorb any information like that. They just have their phone and they can flick what appeals to them. Like the music, it's empty. The cities and politics are mutating people, and the only winners are the politicians, because they have generations of people that just nod their heads now. They don't quiz anything. And society as a whole is going to turn into Pripyat. And the outro says, because human nature is devouring everything, the roadway, the walls, even the school desks, just like you saw in the images there, those school desks. Very important, very powerful images in the video. Empty, desolate. People don't care about school. Everybody wants to take photos and go on social media and go on Instagram, and they want short-lived fortunes. They don't want long-term futures. It's all changed. It really is superficial now, and reality doesn't come into a lot of young people's lives. It just doesn't, because they live in a bubble they've created in their head. And that is human nature, is they're devouring everything, both mentally, that's affecting their physical. The carousal is as firm as Pripyat. In other words, the rot is set in and there's no going back. It's just getting worse. How do you solve it? Caparezza used to solve it through his lyrics in his songs, but he's saying that he's playing to audiences that don't want such depthness. They just want catchy lyrics. And even he's probably quizzing, where do I go in years to come with my music? So take a picture now, he's, in other words, not a Pripyat, but of an empty artist wondering, how do we get through to today's generation? How do we? Because it's all changed since he was 13. And that is a question only the generation themselves can answer. Truly, even I couldn't answer that one. So that is the song. That's my analysis. I hope you've enjoyed the build-up before I played the song, what it was about. It had to be explained, because otherwise this important message of what is happening around us won't be, and the important images that he went to the effort of going to Chernobyl to film. Congratulations to the editing team. These won't mean anything. So the meaning comes through people like me interpreting the best I can before we play the song to give you an understanding. And I hope I've done that. Thank you for listening, everybody. Take care for now. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. There'll be more Caparezza in the future and throughout 2022.